Okay, so Kia ora, everyone. Welcome to the Community Wellbeing Committee for the 21st of May 2025. Great to have you all here, and if we could please start with our normal which is in the front of your agenda on page 3. Thank you. On the screen. Taka taho ki te whakataka taho ki te tonga. Ki uta ki hei a ki a ataka i tia. Great to see so many here. Thank you for today. And I'm anyone attending for the first time? Would you like to quickly introduce yourself so that the rest of the table the wrong hand button thinks
Hi, my name is Lee McMeekin and I'm from Community Corrections in Lavelle. I'm a senior practitioner here and our service manager today.
Thank you.
Okay. Kia ora everyone. My name is Rakesh. I'm here on behalf of Okawa Housing Charitable Trust.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Good everyone, I'm Catherine McAuliffe. I work for Mash Trust as one of the service managers, but I'm representing the Access and Inclusion Forum today.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Matt Roberts Oho, ko Taranaki Tutu Te Iwi, ko Ngāti Kahu Mate Toku Hapu, kei Oho O, e Noko Ana, kei Te Awaho O, Mahi Ana. My name is Matt Roberts, from Taranaki originally. I live in Oho, I work in Foxton. Working with Shirley as part of the contact team to deliver a food resilience plan, and we can talk about that today.
Cool. Welcome, Matt. Thank you. Something's been here before. We've got some special guests today from the Capital Coast District Council. See how we operate here. So welcome, ladies. Would you please introduce yourselves?
Sure, Koto. My name is Emma Hacks. I'm the team leader in communities down at Capital Coast District Council. It's great to come up and just have a look and see how you do in terms of what you're doing with networking with communities. And we're really interested to connect, particularly with those organisations that are also coming on water. Sarah Doherty, I'm here from Kapiti Impact Trust, so we work closely as community partners with council. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou, ko Eldersville Hive. I'm the communities team at Council in Kapiti with Emma as an advisor and look after our youth portfolio at Council.
Welcome to you. And we're happy to share the good news and the well-being of the Horowhenua with you all. So, we've got some apologies today. First of all, Councillor Grimstone can't make it. Are there any others that... Have you got any... Mandy Fry, but she basically delegated Paul to look after things there.
Rehana,
Rehana, thank you.
Jacobs.
Yes, so Patty sort of indicated that she's trying to pull back, and yesterday I met with Patty and thanked her for her contribution that she's made to this committee over many years. And, yeah, it was a nice little touch. Okay, let's get into our agenda then. Late items, none. Declarations of interest, none. Confirmation of the minutes. I'll just move that the meeting minutes of the Community Wellbeing 12th of March. It's a true and correct record. One there that can support that, please. Thank you, Paul. All those in favour? Any items in those minutes that anybody wishes to comment on or seek a question on? All right. We've got the Community Wellbeing Network report, and we are going to hear from each of the areas. Seconds, I'll just move that report be received and noted. Thank you. Favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. So this is just a bit of an outline of the focus and activities of our different networks, and you see there's a number of them now. So just briefly, we're going to hear from them. And Catherine, can I ask you to start on behalf of the Access and Inclusion, please? That would be great.
So the last couple of meetings, the Access and Inclusion Forum have spent developing our terms of reference, which were approved and reported back at the last meeting. We now have our 3 priority areas for the forum's purpose. The first one is amplify and support marginalised groups. So for the months of June and July, the emphasis will be on the rainbow community, which coincides with Pride Month. A workshop called Living in Full Colour will be delivered to the 3 local colleges and 1 evening course for the wider community. This workshop will support rangatahi, whānau and other community members in understanding and celebrating the rainbow community and identities. In conclusion to this event, we will then move our focus onto one of the other marginalised groups to do a similar thing for. Number 2 is the Greater Advocacy Voice for People. So Sharon Williams will be talking to a submission to Horizons in regards to transport planning. Sharon's submission highlights the issues of isolation, rural living and the lack of accessibility for our current transport systems. And Kim Stewart also supported a submission on behalf of the wider Access and Inclusion Forum, which highlights the forum's concerns. And number 3 was a diverse workforce. So Andrew Reid from Horowhenua Company, Sandra Crosby from MSD, and Jodie Brownlee is a disability broker at MSD. And they are heading this project priority area and will report back to the forum with updates to share on this progress.
Next on my list is Youth Services. Sharon, are you going to speak on behalf of them? Thank you.
Atamari koutou, ko Sharon Williams whakuna. So in terms of youth services, the collaborating more and getting a better understanding of each other's services. So one of the ways we're doing this is by hosting, different organisations are hosting each other for the hui and having an opportunity to showcase their services. And you'll see we went to Mulupuku Tribal Authority last month. The second focus that we have is around Hauora, and we've got this Hauora calendar month focus in which youth service providers give a priority to a particular theme. So for April it was digital wellbeing. For May it aligns with Youth Week, the 19th to the 25th of May, Take Your Place. And there's a lot of youth events happening at Te Takaretanga o Kuruhau Port in Levin, the Foxton Library, and the 2 Shannon events are happening today as well. And then for June, we're looking at Living in Full Colour, aligning with the Pride Month. Other areas of focus included the spike in youth offending, and we've invited Mayor Bernie and the Youth Aid to the next network meeting, which is tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Just to remind, I've just been reminded by Grayson, this meeting is live streamed, so if you could please use your microphones when you speak, otherwise those that do want to watch now or later can't hear us speak, so thank you. Also, obviously, because it is a live stream meeting, if there's anything that's said that you don't wish to be made public, then obviously you probably need to refrain from speaking it. Okay, Laura, are you going to bring us up to date with Youth Voice? And while Laura's just coming to the table, those of us that were in the previous forum, Mark mentioned that Sergeant Bernie O'Brien was going to be here to talk about the methamphetamine figures, and unfortunately there's been a bit of a miscommunication. Bernie's now in Palmerston and can't make it with us, but he will be at the youth meeting tomorrow, but we'll hear a bit about it then. So Laura, thank you.
Firstly, it's not often you get to say to your manager, can I have your seat? So thanks, Julie. Kia ora koutou, my name is Laura Fisher and I am working here at Horowhenua District Council as the Community Development Coordinator and also the Youth Voice Facilitator. Thanks for having me speak today. Ideally, we would have had a member from Youth Voice join us, but as you should appreciate, school does come first and most of them are under the age of 18. So I just wanted to give a quick update on what's been happening with Horowhenua Youth Voice, who are an awesome group of rangatahi who are passionate about making a difference here in our district. I'm very mindful that you haven't had a report back officially from Youth Voice, so I wanted to give a bit of a broader context. Right now we have 12 members who are actively involved. They meet regularly and have independent opinions, always keen to speak up about the issues that matter to the young people in our community. It's all about giving them a platform to be heard, developing leadership skills and helping to bridge that gap between rangatahi and decision makers in a meaningful way. Some of the highlights from our recent mahi. Our social media is growing, and with young people that's the main way of getting through. So right now we've got close to 100 followers on Instagram. Speaking to the schools, that's the most popular way of getting messages across, so that's really good. And over 1,000 on Facebook. We have recently created content for New Zealand Sign Language Week, Pink Shirt Day, and focusing on our monthly themes, which Sharon mentioned earlier. So we've had the online balance, which has been about screen time and digital wellbeing, and this month we're celebrating Youth Week take our place. Council officers have started meeting with the local school principals to chat about Youth Voice and how we can bring in more rangatahi who are keen to get involved, growing our diversity. These discussions are going really well. Mu'upoko Tribal Authorities Kaimahi have also been sharing about the opportunity with the rangatahi that they support too. So the word is definitely getting out there. One highlight that we're really proud of is our submission work. Youth Voice members have been writing and presenting submissions to council, building their confidence, communication skills, and realising that their voice matters. Tomorrow, 3 members will be attending the public transport submission at the Horizons Long-Term Plan Amendment and Annual Plan hearing in Palmerston North. They also spoke to Horowhenua District Council about the reimagining of the Levin War Memorial Hall and the Village Green. Finally, Council now has a Youth Empowerment Fund. So to ensure good youth participation in decision making, 2 young people actually joined the decision making panel to provide advice on the applicants that have applied to the fund. The panel only met a couple of months ago and 2 Youth Voice members successfully joined the committee, which is very exciting. So keep your eyes peeled, follow our social media so you can stay up to date with what we're up to. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, and just compliment the work that the Youth Voice team are doing. It's great to have their engagement and involvement in terms of the decision making and where we're going in the future. I'm now going to ask Lynette at the other end of the spectrum from the youth to talk about older persons. Thanks, Lynette.
I'm from the Older Persons Network. My name is Lynette Jones. We're currently working on, we've set our priorities, which are housing, health and social isolation. We are very disturbed about some of the figures that are coming through for admittance to the Palmerston North Hospital. And I think, Bernie, you provided the figures of 3,213 admitted, and 2,300 were over 55 years old that were admitted, and that's an awful lot of people. So from the last OPN meeting, the Network and Community Development team have been working on these issues. They've created a special workshop designed to help older people stay safe at home, in the community and online, which is Powering Up, which is about empowering our kaumātua with knowledge and practical strategies to support their own safety and well-being. Ageing in Place is another workshop to learn what's needed for successful ageing in place and explore the local support services available. Horowhenua has a proportion of over 26% over the age of 65. Staying safe is not just for the elderly. We have all ages that need resources that they can touch on if they need it. For example, after hours care, emergency medical care, help with travel when they have no one to help them. After the Simeon Brown release earlier this week, there are still questions on the effect on our citizens and what this means to them. Palmerston North is targeted for 24/7 care in 2027. Levin is targeted for 2026 for more access to medical services. What do these changes look like at the workplace? We have no idea yet. Who does it affect? Will it stop occurrences at Palmerston North Hospital discharging citizens at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is a real problem for the elderly? 24 on-call clinical support, we need to know what that's going to look like. For those who do not have a cell phone or a computer, this is not an option. If they are asked to take a photo of an area of their body for the clinician, that may panic them even more because they are not digitally knowledgeable. We also need to educate our citizens that nurse practitioners are there as a medical expert in their field, and if necessary will call in a doctor. We have a lot of that going on with the elderly. They are not confident. We need to talk about what that cost is going to be for those services. Aftercare in Wellington can cost you over $100 for an appointment. Elderly can't, well, a lot of people can't afford that. I can't. So there'll be a lot of people that will be affected. How do we prepare for all of these changes with the elderly, which is another thing that's a problem. The extended after-hours services may not be affordable, so elderly will stay at home and be sick until it gets to the point where it's so bad that they have to have an ambulance. So the council is looking at other initiatives that will assist us get ready for these changes, and the OPN will be assisting them, as we hope these changes will really make a difference to our citizens.
Thank you, Lynette. That's great. Patrick, can talk about education. Thank you.
Thanks. Good morning. Patrick Cornell. I'm from HLC and Up to the Max, but representing Education Horowhenua. Like a number of the other subcommittees, we've been working on terms of reference and have settled in, now that the terms of reference have been accepted, on two focus areas. So attendance and engagement, and that word engagement is actually quite important. There's an acknowledgement from the education sector that while attendance at school is important, engagement is just as important, if not more important, because it's engagement that gets you through your education. And from that falls few challenges, the change or the upcoming changes to Kohoiako and what that's going to do to the Te Tomokanga initiative, but also there's general agreement that this region needs more alternative education pathway provision, and that's something that's in discussion with Ministry of Education. Coupled with recent rises in teen pregnancies here, which are creating education issues as people work through lifestyle changes. At the same time, our other focus is actually increasing the connection between education providers and business with the Horowhenua Company, and looking at how do we make a more seamless pathway from people out of their education and into their employment life. And so they will be the two focuses that you hear from us over the next 12 months. Really do want to revisit that engagement piece, just so it's the last thing that you hear, because while we talk about attendance and you've got an education snapshot that Education Horowhenua has presented to you, we do have a rise in a number of people that are showing up as attending on attendance records, but for all sorts of reasons are not engaging in education. And they are not just, I can't be bothered in the classroom. They are all the things that this community, wellbeing community, talks about. You know, the deprivation, the poverty, I'm just not able to engage in my education because I'm carrying this big rock behind me. And so I think that's where our connection will be with this committee over the next 12 months. Thank you.
Just wondering if there's any questions or comments that people want to make about any of those reports. And I know I skipped over them probably quite quickly, but does anyone? Sharon?
Yeah, kia ora, Patrick. Just a quick question on the dashboard data for the education. When it says progression to tertiary under Horowhenua school leavers, does that refer to the ones that were educated at Horowhenua establishments, or does that refer to people who live in the Horowhenua?
So this is Ministry of Education data. It actually captures both, because obviously there will be Te Kura enrolments here in the Horowhenua. So these are anyone that's identifying as the Horowhenua region and measured through Ministry of Education data that way. Does that answer your question? So they're not necessarily coming from the three colleges. They may have come from Te Kura, they may be in the TPU. There are other pathways.
Just to clarify, would that then include, for example, students that were living in Shannon, so in the Horowhenua, but attending the high schools in Palmerston North?
Yes, it's a simple answer. Yes.
And Patrick, there's further work to be done on that dashboard. That was the very first dashboard that we've done, isn't it? And so there'll be hopefully some more refined data coming.
Yeah, look, one of the advantages we've got now is that the Ministry of Education is collecting this data in more real time as well, so what we wanted to do is effectively give you a base position so that we can measure against it and look for progress from there.
Okay, thank you. So those are the reports from, if you like, the more formal forums that council have. Sorry, Nev, did you want to ask a question or something?
Yeah. I just want to ask Patrick about can you give us some examples of the provisions that are going to be added into alternative education here in Horowhenua?
Unfortunately, no, because we don't have that ability. I think what's coming out of the Education Horowhenua committee is that voice to say we need to advocate for more alternative education provisions to give you figures. And I'm just, as long as we understand, I'm not in the alternative education pathway, but we have about 15 places available in the Horowhenua at the moment. If you talk to the three college principals, they would say at least double that is probably the minimum that the region needs. And as they advocate for that, that's going to be a Ministry of Education decision. whether they are to fund it or not, I'm sure that they would love the voice of this group and council to support, the work that they're doing.
Would you know do you know who's currently running the alternative education program and how it's going?
Yes, so Waipahu College is the managing college, as I understand. They're working with Waiora Trust, and I think the discussion is very much around that's working, so why not just more capacity of what? But again, because I'm not directly involved, I don't want to make sort of too many comments, but that's very much the voice that's coming from Ed Horowhenua to say, let's just allow more pathways so that more young people can engage in alternative education as a pathway to their future.
Thanks, Patrick. So, as I said, those are the sort of reports from the 5 forums that we actually formally feed into this committee. But as you can see, that we've also started up a few little, we're calling them collectives and other support committees, and I'm just going to ask Mark to introduce that and then maybe talk about a couple of the items that are on there. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor Bernie, and for you. I also note we've got the Horowhenua Former Refugee Support Committee. Take that as read because we haven't got anyone to report back on that. And as Mayor Bernie just mentioned, yes, we have formed some collectives that link directly back to the community wellbeing strategy, and I think it's really important to highlight that the mahi that is happening within this committee has a really strong alignment to our community wellbeing strategy. And if you read that strategy, you'll see some of these conversations. We have got representatives from each of these collectives who are briefly able just to give a quick update on the work that's happening in those spaces. So from a housing perspective, I think I'm going to hand over to Rakesh just to say a few words on how that's progressing.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. I'm a little bit nervous this morning because this forum is new to me, but I'm going to give it my best shot here, so thank you. So the Vulnerable Housing Network was formed late last year in November, originated by Kim Stewart, and slowly progressed through to Anna Johnson. Great help. So the concerns about homelessness in Horowhenua, we need to we know that there's a problem. We need some stats and data and collect those through the organisations like WINS, Te Hapuri, and Women's Refuge. Anyway, our network believes all people in Horowhenua should have access to fair, safe and affordable healthy housing. The network's position is that the best response to homelessness is to prevent it happening in the first place. The immediate response is building intel on the size and nature of the problem. I know that there were reports that people were living rough, either in parks or in cars. Providers learning about each other and doing and working together. Education, so people know what they are entitled to. Affordable housing workshop series is just started. The development of homelessness resource pamphlets so people know where to access services and where they can go for help. The medium-term response is building, repurposing and restoring housing stock across the region, building new social housing stock and iwi housing. I think Okawa Housing Charitable Trust, we're a new chip in Levin. We would love to make a difference here, but we also need the help from the council and other financial entities out there so that we can actually make a difference here. I think the forum is going really, really well. There's some good people in the forum and they are all invested in Horowhenua and we are wanting to make a difference. Thank you.
Thanks for aggression free, Your Worship. Just want to acknowledge as well, I did mention before, the collective is obviously made up of a range of people from across the community who make up that collective. Just wanted to highlight that. I think Anna, briefly around the driver licensing.
Kia ora koutou. One of the problems that we're trying to solve in the Horo Whenua is about how do we fast track young people getting licenses, safely getting licenses so that they're safe on the road, in order that they can get work. Because, well, in order that they can live full lives and get work, but we know that not having a license is one of the major obstacles for young people being able to achieve that goal. So we've had 3 meetings over the last few months, really bringing together all of the people in that driving ecosystem, the people who are the tutors, the testers, the mentors, and what we've tried to do is look at where are the gaps and how do we solve them. One of the big issues we try to solve at the moment, 2 big issues, how do we get good provision for young people who live out in places like Shannon and Foxton, because it's really difficult for them to access lessons, particularly because tutors believe that they need to practice in Levin, not out in Foxton. We're trying to find some creative way that we might be able to do that. And the second issue is, how do young people practice their driving between lessons, because not all families have got a car that they can do that. So we're looking at bringing in, hopefully, a model from the Wairarapa, which is a really successful mentoring program to address that gap. We're also looking at how to increase the number of testers, and I don't know if you're aware, but currently there's a whole, the government is looking at changing the way that we do driver licensing at the moment, and so things have been put on hold while that gets sorted. But and the other issue is some young people have talked about they would like to have driver tutors that look more like them. So looking at how could we get more Māori tutors, driving instructors, so that we could lift the level of achievement. And while young people, the number of driving lessons, the number of young people attending driving lessons has gone up, the number of successful completions of licenses still sits around about 30%. So we're super keen that we can lift that significantly. Kia ora.
And lastly, Mayor Bernie, the last collective group was our Horo Whenua Kai Resilience Collective, and I believe Matt is able to speak to some of that.
Kia ora anō. Again, my name is Matt Roberts. I'm here to announce the establishment of the Kai Resilience Network, and I'm speaking today as a representative of that network. It probably helps being a new network. I'll just give some broad overview as to what Kai Resilience means. I'm sure you've heard the term before, but its meaning may be unclear to some of us. When we talk about Kai Resilience, we refer to our ability of the community to access and consume healthy and affordable kai. It's also about developing the capacity of the Horo Whenua region to meet its own local food needs. It's also about ensuring local food systems can withstand disruptions like COVID and reduce our dependency on outside systems. Thanks to the vision and driving force of Anna Johnson, the community development lead, and members of her team like Emma Gowan, in 5 months they've formed a network spanning Levin, Foxton and Shannon. Said network will develop and implement a community-led food resilience action plan. So thank you to Anna, for your hard work in getting us here today. And thank you to the Wellbeing Committee for the opportunity to speak today. So the journey so far, the ComDev team brought together Horo Whenua-based community kai providers, iwi and other local organisations to share their experiences and challenges around food insecurity. What was clear There's already incredible mahi already happening across the region. However, many providers are isolated, resource stretched, and working in silos. Like the rest of the motu, the demand and the number of whānau accessing these services are increasing. In response, we've formed the Horowhenua Kai Resilience Network. It's a community-led, council-supported initiative focused on building a connected, resilient, and equitable local food system. Our vision is simple: ensure all whānau in Horowhenua have access to healthy and affordable kai, and that we work together in making that a reality. We've identified several critical barriers to achieving this. Supplies through food networks are dwindling. There are distribution challenges and funding gaps. There's a lack of shared data and coordination. But we also see major opportunities like joining forces and strengthening our partnerships. Together, we'll combine our capacity and find innovative solutions that meet growing demand. So the good news is we're not starting from scratch. We're building on the strengths of our people and the programs already in motion. To that effect, Anna, Emma and I have developed a proposal for a pilot project to launch in August. Some of those aims will be to enhance the amazing work already being done by the network members, have more of the Horowhenua region produce kai specifically for those in need, ensure all operations of the network lead to environmentally sustainable outcomes, and to build integrated educational, health and kai initiatives. While our primary focus is on feeding people, we all know that regular access to healthy kai is foundational to better outcomes in areas like health and education. So our network will be founded on being open and willing to work with providers in those areas. While we're finalising the pilot project plan, there's a significant amount of mahi needed to get the network pilot ready by August. So I'd like to recognise Jacinta from the Sustainable Environment team, who has stepped up and provided funding for that mahi to take place. Ngā mihi nui, Jacinta. Also Maggie from DIA and Ian from ECCT for providing guidance on how to structure the pilot for funding purposes. Ngā mihi nui, Maggie. With your backing, we're confident the network will strengthen the well-being of our communities and shape a more secure and sovereign kai future for all of the Horowhenua. For a more detailed outline of our network and pilot plan, documentation will be made available to everyone here. If anyone knows any individuals or groups working in the kai space that might be interested in joining the network, we can provide the details for them to connect in with us. For those of you in education and health, you'll start to see me popping up more and more in your spaces. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora, Matt. That's great. And look, just acknowledge the work that your team and Rakesh and your team are doing in the space. It's fantastic that we're starting to actually see some real actions happen in the community like this, and just acknowledge the work that you are doing, and I'm sure it's going to produce some wonderful benefits for the community in the future. So really appreciate it, and look forward to the good work that you will do, no doubt, and the impact that will have across the whole district will be great, I'm sure. So thank you. Anything else in that space? Cool. All right, thank you. Let's move on now to just noting you'll see those little posters for the affordable housing workshop series that are running, and the thing that struck me is that Shannon Foxton and Levin are involved in this, so right across the district, which is fantastic, and I'm sure hopefully make it easier for everybody to to access this sort of information, and hopefully they'll get some really good stuff out of it. So then just moving to our wellbeing dashboard, and just move that that be received and noted. Thank you. Thanks, Lee. And there's a number of things in there, and I wondered whether, Paul, do you want to kick off and just talk about some of the things from your perspective on the dashboard first? It is, yes.
Okay. Doesn't have my glasses. So, where are we going? Oh, thank you. Sorry, got challenged. Yeah, so just in terms of housing, I guess these are our end of March figures. These are our official statistics. So, housing register has gone down to 150, down 27 from last year, and we are actually seeing that trend nationally. Housing register is going down, which is positive. Benefit numbers, I think that's got 4,389 at the end of March. We had a good decrease from Christmas to March. There are generally a lot of employment opportunities that occur in February and March. So that's typically what happens. And I could say unofficially we're probably moving, tracking down on those numbers currently. So hoping to see maybe by the end of June a further reduction.
Thank you. Any questions maybe for Paul in terms of any of that data? Annette.
Is it, can we find out why there's a decrease? Is it because kids are going back home? Is it because people are leaving the area? You know, things like that we might be able to target areas.
Just turn your mic off, sorry, Lee. Thank you.
Thanks for your question. Typically we get a decrease after Christmas because people come back from leave and they're sort of reviewing what they might do for the year in business. So we do typically see employment opportunities, increasing over that time. There'll also be people moving into tertiary study as well that may be exiting benefits. So there can be a few drivers for why that happens. What I could also tell you is from an MSD perspective, we have placed more people into work in the last quarter than we did the previous quarter last year. So for us, that's quite positive, but the number of people that are coming on benefit is just exceeding our ability to move them off benefit into work, if that makes sense. So the economy is still quite tough, but I would say it's a combination of people moving into work and also going into study. Patrick probably knows that better than me, but usually study numbers go up when the economy is tough and people go down that pathway. So probably a little bit of both.
Certainly, Ruby.
Sorry, can I just add, I'm from Kaingaroa and we've just had 18 new 1 and 2 bedroom homes come in Levin as well, so that would have taken 18 people off the housing register as well. So there's those things that come into it as well.
Little steps. There's probably lots of factors, Lynette, but it all hopefully combines to improve some of that data. I think one of the most striking things of this dashboard for me was the population growth figure, which already indicates that we are well ahead of what we actually anticipated our growth might be, and that we're sitting at 40,000 people for the district, which is, substantially more than where we were even, 5 years ago. So it's having an impact right across the board in terms of all the agencies and the different things that go on. So the fact that hopefully, things like the housing register will have pressure on it because we've got more people on it. Our health stats will have more pressure on it because there's more people trying to access those sorts of things. But some of the good parts of that is hopefully our MSD figures and those benefit figures continue to fall because the economy's better, there's more jobs available and things like that. But so there's a whole combination of different things that will work. And one of the benefits of having a dashboard like this is that we get this overall picture of you know, we've actually got real data that actually supports what the thinking is and what's happening. But, you know, as far as my role, you know, the fact that we are growing as quickly as we are means that we've got to make sure that we're managing that growth as best we can. And one of the reasons why we have a community wellbeing committee, so we can understand what is going on. I'm not going to ask each individual area to maybe comment, but is there anyone that wishes to add anything to some of those data in the housing space or the education space, health space at all? Angela, I just want to acknowledge those ED numbers that you passed on. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's been really informative, especially as, you know, Lynette referred to understanding how that is happening, where it's coming from, and timing and even the age of people and things like that. Really informative. I think it's a bit scary that we've had nearly 8,600 people arrive at ED over the past year, which says quite a bit about, you know, people's ability to access primary health care. And hopefully there's an announcement tomorrow that might make it a little bit easier, give us a bit more detail in terms of what has been proposed. All right, thank you to those that input into this. It's really, it really does give a really good picture of what is going on in the district, and yeah, it's great. Thank you. Unfortunately, Bernie's not here, so we can't talk more about that. Those meth figures that were highlighted in the media over the weekend. Would be good to understand that, and I'm sure tomorrow at the Youth Services Youth Voice meeting we'll get a bit more detail on that. So Paul's spoken around the quarterly snapshot pretty much, which is positive. Let's now then go to the Community Wellbeing Strategy on page 29 of your agenda, and there's a number of things in here that Mark is going to talk about, and I'll pass over to him. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. Yes, the Community Wellbeing Strategy Monitoring Report. I'm not going to go into detail, except just, I suppose, highlight for the committee some really neat stuff that's happening out in our community. I get the pleasure of being able to review the reports as the team collate them, and as I was looking through this report, I was pretty chuffed with all the neat stuff that's happening from a council-led perspective, but also from a community-led perspective for our multiple agencies. And I hope that as you read through the report, you too will get that sense of feeling as well. Each meeting we try to put some pictures on, some visuals on the screen just to highlight some of that, and remembering as well that monitoring report is again linking back to the priorities which are within the community wellbeing strategy. And so culture across our community have had a number of events that have contributed to that. In our connected community space, these photos here highlighting Neighbours Day that happened at Venture Park.
Yes.
Health and wellbeing, our health and wellbeing space, and these are just a quick snapshot for some areas, but there's more detail within the report. But as Matt spoke about earlier around our Kai Resilience work, is the community coming together there. Sense of place and belonging. Our youth space continues to thrive and are holding a number of activities within that space. This week is Youth Week, and so there's also activities happening this week, but that sense of place and belonging, allowing those rangatahi to come into that space and feel that sense of place and belonging. The other picture is actually Shannon to Māori Park, which is the new addition that is underway or on its way around upgrading Te Māori Park. And that idea again of those open spaces that we have in our community, actually, if they're done correctly, you can bring people together for that sense of place and belonging. We've talked about housing. We've held a number of housing workshops, as Mayor Burney has alluded to. We have a number of other housing workshops coming up. The picture on the other side is actually a guide that Council's created to assist people with a step-by-step guide around building a family flat to support people that are interested in doing that, because we know that housing's been identified. And I think is that all my slides? Oh, no, last one. Environment, community resilience and preparedness. And these photos here are actually highlighting a really neat program run out of our libraries team called Read for Trees. Read for Trees was the summer holiday program where, as people read, both tamariki but also adults, as they read, they collected leaves. Leaves then helped create a tree that was actually planted a few weeks ago at Hawthai Park alongside Mayor Burney. So readers were able to come and actually plant the trees that they had work towards, which was really special, and that real nice double duty piece of a holiday reading program that actually then has an impact in our community by planting trees in a park that I hope those young people will be able to go and find shade in the future in that park. So Mayor Burney, just some really neat stuff within the report. The final thing that I will say is attached to that report is our actual monitoring report itself. The committee should be pleased to read that and see that there's no roadblocks, and either things are underway or they have been completed, which shows that we, and again this report is a way for the committee to hold us accountable to ensure that we are meeting the action plan within the strategy. I'm pretty pleased to show that we're on a really good track. Thank you, Mayor Burney.
Thanks, Mark. It's just endorsed Mark's comments around the really good stuff that is happening, and in terms of those tree planting, I was pleased that they dug the holes for us before we actually put the trees in. Otherwise, I could have been a bit sore the next day. I think the other thing to note is in the connected community part of this is the fact that we've now updated the directory on Council's website, so there's actually 200 community organisations contact information included in that now. We've been working on that for a while, and there's been a number of people contribute to that, so there shouldn't now hopefully be any excuse to be able to not to know what is going on in the community, and the fact that there's 200 organisations actually on that database is really fantastic. Hopefully it'll be kept up to date and retained. Are there any questions or comments around any of the items on that monitoring report? I'm always reflective that when no one comments, it means that there's some really good stuff that is happening, because if there's things on there that people aren't happy with, they soon raise. But the fact that there is so much good stuff, and I just want to acknowledge the work that Mark and his team continue to do in this space, where we've come from in a relatively short space of time in terms of reimagining how this Community Wellbeing Committee works, and the direction of travel that we've been going on, and getting all these different groups together and understanding what is going on in our community is much down to their collective mahi in terms of understanding and connecting with everybody, and it's great to see where I know wellbeing's not supposed to be one of our core things, but obviously the impact that we have in our community, it can be really strong and worthwhile by being able to understand what is going on and support it and advocate for it and enable things to happen. And I do want to acknowledge all of you in terms of the contribution that you make to this. I know sometimes it's feel good and touchy and stuff like that, but you know, it does mean make a difference to what is going on. So thank you very much. We seem to have got through that business really, really quickly, but is there anything that anyone wants to add, talk about what's happening in their space in particular, or anything that I suppose we're all waiting for what's going on the budget tomorrow to see where we land. And there may, as I said in our forum before, if there's anything that particularly impacts this district that you think is in the budget that we should be aware of, I would be really appreciative if you share that or ask questions of myself or Mark and the team. Would be really great to understand. If you think it's going to have an impact in our community, it would be great. Well, silence is golden. Okay, all right. In that case, we'll finish early and give you back a little bit of your day and you get on with your business. If we could just close our meeting with our normal karakia, thank you. Kia whakaeria te tapu, kia wai te ai te ara, kia tūriki whakataha ai, kia tūriki whakataha ai, haumi ai, hui ai, tai ki ai. Thank you all very much. Next meeting is, good question. It'll probably be August, is it, or May? 13th of August. All right. Have a great winter. Hope you survive all right, and we'll see you then.